Hi, and welcome. I want to welcome you and thank you for joining us today. You have Kimberly Rinaldi, myself, and Frankie Picasso, my co-host over here, and we're going to be sharing the 5 steps to launching a successful podcast after living notes. Frankie and I have been doing radio and podcasting, and there was a time when podcasting was actually not the word we used, but it has become more fashionable lately. So we're actually wanting to share a little bit more about it. We've done live radio, which is something we're going to talk to you about as well, but we want to talk about what it takes to be a successful podcast and live radio host and why it's so important for your business and how it has impacted our businesses. Before we get started, again, I want to thank you for taking your time. I know you're busy, and we're going to get you a lot of content, not just the 5 steps, because we go a little deeper. That's what we do. We talk for a living, so we're going to try and wrap it up in under 45 minutes, get you all the content you need, plus some more. Plus, if you let us, we have a way to make it easier for you, a way that we found because, hey, Frankie, did you have to do it the hard way?
Definitely had to do it the hard way.
So did I. Don't want you guys to have to do that. Don't want you to have to figure it out on your own. There's no need for you to have to figure out how to recreate the wheel. We've done it. So we're going to get you that. But before we do, I want Frankie to step in, if you would, and give our listeners, the people who are joining us, let them know a little bit about what your background is and how you came to radio and why it's so important to you.
Okay. Again, I'm Frankie Picasso, and I'm the founder of the Good Radio Network. And my friend here, Kimberly Rinaldi, is the founder of Lessons in Joyful Living Network. So we're both network hosts, and I host Mission Unstoppable Radio and also Frankie Sense and more. Those are my 2 shows now. But in the past, I had 7 shows going at one time, talking about relationships, psychology, unstoppable dating, just everything, like whatever interests me. I had a show, music show. So that's kind of, where my mind goes, and I create a show when I like it. When I was 9 years old, I wanted to be a radio host, and I sent away for the National Institute of Broadcasting records. Woo! I had a little record player that I could carry in a suitcase, and I would open it up and I put my big LP on it. And I listened to these records. I totally forgot about that as boys came along, and got into photojournalism in university, and then got into makeup and aesthetics and just all these different things because I'm a Gemini and I love to learn and I'd be a professional student. I was teaching coaching at the International Coach Academy when one of my students said, "Frankie, would you like to be on the radio?" And it was 2 weeks just after New Year's when I had put down, this year I'm going to have a radio show. Like, I totally manifested this amazing opportunity. It was going to be all coach radio, 24 hours of coach radio. Oh my goodness, Kimberly, I sold the spots and nobody could get started because they couldn't figure out the hardware. That what you had to set up in your computer in order to have a radio show from home was insane. And in my, Robert, my partner there, he would go into people's computers and he'd try to configure it, and not one host started except for me. I'm like, oh no, people were just afraid of the technology, but that's all been taken care of now, isn't it? So as an author, I've got a few books back here you can see, artist, and you can have a show about anything, and I do have a show about everything. So I love it.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned having wanted to be a radio host. See, I still stumble over my own words. Don't worry, it'll come to you. I had no desire. In my mind, I have a very nasal, whiny voice. This is what I hear. Everyone else tells me fabulous for meditation, fabulous for holding attention. I don't hear it. So I was always very self-critical. And the only experience I had, and it's funny that you sent away for the, broadcasting, the Gary Owens School of Radio Broadcasting. And that wasn't what I wanted when I launched. But for me, what happened is 20 years in healthcare, coaching and mentoring students, learning neurolinguistic programming and all of these behavioral modalities that helped me in the work I did and helped my students and staff. And then took a coaching practice off to the side with it because, hey, why not? Like you, it's like, oh, look, I can have another business with this. Oh, look, I can do this with this.
Exactly.
I ended up launching my first show in 2013. And it was because I had been approached 3 times within a 12-month period to do television. I live in Southern California, and we are the land of reality TV. And I had 3 different production companies approach me to teach what I do on TV. And I went, I'd have to wear pants. Frankie knows I work in my jammies most days. Number 1. Number 2.
That's another great reason to be a radio host.
Right?
Work in your jammies. I do all the time.
I use language, and I would be dressed, they would edit me, and ultimately I was smart enough to realize if you're not a big enough name, if you don't have the money behind the production company, you don't get to dictate what that final product looks like. And that product is you.
Right.
So I thought, while you manifested this, my thought was the universe is telling me something. There's something on my path that I need to figure out. This doesn't feel right, but it feels like a bigger platform. So I did the research and the due diligence and found that if I had my own show, I could produce it, I could own it, I could determine what that final product looked like. And I launched in January of 2013. Within 90 days, I had 10,000 listeners monthly. And
that's
at the
absolutely
time,
incredible.
Right? And Frankie will tell you that those are great numbers.
Those are amazing numbers.
I went, not big enough. I need to double that in the next 90 days because I had done my research, but I hadn't really looked at outcome. I had looked at like the launch process. So within 6 months, I was then doing a 5-day-a-week program. That was so successful, we launched the network, but I've done Into the Light Paranormal, which is about paranormal activity. I've done Mind Science and Metaphysics, which is one of my favorite shows because it looks at the comparatives of quantum healing versus what we call magic and, mystery and all of that stuff. And the reality that these two things are the same. And one of my favorite shows is Entrepreneur Accelerator, where we talk about how to take a business up and get it running and functional within a short amount of time, because really time is the only resource we have. It's the only thing we cannot create more of. It is the only true resource. So that's one of the reasons why Frankie and I were in the background, I don't know, a couple months ago, when we were talking about how to help people get into radio and not have that learning curve and crash that we've had.
What's exciting about what you said, you actually kind of have really segued wonderfully into what we want to talk about today, because you had a business show, you had an interest show, right? And kind of a legacy show in a way. Like, I talk to authors. I love it because I love books. I did interest shows because, like you, on paranormal, on spiritual, on psychobabble, it was called, and dating, because I love to talk about midlife. My book is Midlife Mojo. So I like to talk about relationships and dating in midlife and talk to people in midlife. Those are passions, those are interests, and that's how you get into radio.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of it. If you're sitting right now listening, I guarantee there is an audience wanting, willing, desiring, needing to hear what it is, your expertise, your experience, your opinions. They want to hear from you what you have to share. So now that you know a little bit about us and what brought us to today, I want to jump into the content, because like I said, Frankie and I will talk ad infinitum, but we want to give you what you're here for. And that's the 5 steps to launching a podcast. So I call it the best evergreen marketing money will buy. What do you think, Frankie?
I absolutely agree. And I can't even understand why people would not want to advertise with a podcaster. Evergreen, for those who aren't in business anymore, an evergreen tree is always green. And so is this content. It's always fresh and it stays around forever. I started my shows in 2007, and you can go to iTunes and still see Frankie's original shows. It doesn't ever go away. And so if you have advertised with me back then, imagine how many years your commercial has played to new and new audiences. It's absolutely amazing. So it really is truly the best evergreen marketing you could ever have.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I still get emails from people finding my very first show and sharing, how it's impacting their lives, and emails from people who have found me from a recent show and then find that there are archives and they can go back.
Yeah.
There's very little that you can't put into that evergreen market. So that's a little bit about us. And we talked about the 5 steps. So I want you guys to grab a pen. If you don't have one, just hit pause, go grab a pen, grab a glass of water, get comfortable, because we're going to go through content and experience and expertise. And you've got a whole lot of experience and expertise sitting here. I've been doing what I do over 30 years, Frankie.
Yeah, well, I've been a coach for over 30 years myself. And I just want to tell people, 2 years ago, you would not have caught me on camera.
Me either, right?
Yeah. So we're evolving.
Yes.
Even we evolve. Yeah, I didn't want people to see me. I didn't mind if they heard me, but I didn't want people to see me. And the thing about your voice and everybody else's voice that they don't like their voice, when it's a distinctive voice and you hear that voice week after week, it becomes comforting and comfortable. You like to hear that voice. Oh, I know who that is. That's Kimberly. I like that. Yeah, it is. It's like hearing your favorite friend over and over. You get used to your voice. You do.
And I love that you brought up the not wanting camera. That was a big thing for me. I don't want to have to be camera ready. I had to put lip gloss on this morning. Camera ready. So there's that. But
there's that.
All right. So the first step 1, obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but step 1 is find a theme you're passionate about. What are some of like the most, as a station host, what are some of the things that are like so far out there, you're like, no, that is a show. I don't understand why you're questioning this.
I mean, we talked about aliens, right? We've had shows on aliens and fairies. I had somebody talk about the Welch's grape juice fairy that told them when to plant. I mean, there are shows about absolutely everything. Cooking. They made a show that somebody has a very successful show out of quilt making. Now, I can't imagine how, you're going to listen to this, but they have a very successful show on your network, I think.
Well, yeah, on the network I started on. And we had talked about this, and it's interesting because I also own an art gallery. One of our biggest art shows out of the 20 years we've had the gallery was a quilting show. So when you brought that up, I'm like, no, they're
a cult. They're a cult.
They're a quilting cult. So find something you're passionate about, whether it's sex, relationships,
cooking,
wine,
gardening,
makeup. I mean, and then people talk about, well, I can't do this because it's a visual medium and you're going into an auditory process. Not true. Frankie, you've started doing video audio combo.
I did. Yeah. And I love it. And I decided I'm old enough now that I don't care if people look at me. So I said, I'm going to let them look at me. And so I do a video audio combo where I do Facebook Live like this, will look like this. And then I split the show. So the audio goes to podcasting and the video goes to my YouTube channel. And that's a really great blend to be able to do. It's very simple to do. And we can show you how to do that too.
Yeah. It's a hybrid and it's fantastic. If you don't want to put lip gloss on, you can just do audio, and even the visual mediums still translate well in audio because you can send your listener, because most of them are in fact listening on a mobile device, send them to a link. They'll look, they'll buy, they'll watch, they get very dedicated, like those quilters, cult-like following.
Yeah.
They get very dedicated once they're following a host. And I'm amazed at how my listeners have impacted me, because some of them have become students and clients and colleagues and friends and. So it's
you become a trusted friend. You become a trusted friend.
You're in someone's ear at least once a week.
Yep. For
as long as you're on. So that's step 1. Write that down. We'll have notes for you at the end, but write that down. Step 1, find what you're passionate about. And the reason for that is you're not going to have the energy to talk about, like I couldn't talk about gardening.
No. I don't know anything about gardening. Although you could still have a show about things that you don't know anything about just by having experts on your show and being a curious host. You can do that.
Yeah. I have no desire to be out in the sun, obviously. No desire to play in the dirt. When my husband, one of his businesses, he comes home and he talks about having gone to the rock store in the garden, I'm like, snooze fest. So
I agree.
Talk about it. Wouldn't work.
People love it.
Right? Exactly.
People love it.
What is your passion? What is the thing that lights you up, that spark? Because other people pick up on it. And if you're having a passionate conversation, excuse me, a passionate conversation with a guest, people get caught up in the enthusiasm. They want to be a part of it. So that's step one.
You have a tribe. I know that you have a tribe out there, because if you buy something, if it's online, if you go to a store, then there's other people like you who are interested in that same thing. Guaranteed. Rocks, right? Chimes, charms, whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. So Frankie, you had done some research before we decided to launch this new product. And you asked some of the world that we are involved with, what were the reasons that they went, oh, I don't think I'm good for this. I don't think this is a fit.
I'm glad you brought that up, and I'm going to go look at it. But mostly, I don't like my voice.
Mm-hmm.
People won't be interested in what I have to say. I don't know how to make money. I don't know how to do it. And I listen to them, but why would somebody listen to me? I mean, basically, it's all about the fear of kind of the unknown, the fear that nobody will listen or tune in, the fear that I'm boring, I've got nothing to say. And you know what? Throw all that out. Throw all that out the window, because people will listen to anything, really. It's been proven. And, you know, the reasons that people listen to podcasts, my shows are edutainment. Your shows are edutainment. They like to be educated. They like to be entertained throughout the day. And they listen because they want to learn something new, or they want to have a good laugh. That's why people listen. And you know what? You can be funny without even knowing it.
Yeah.
I routinely am.
And the thing is, if you're having a good time, if you're having fun, again, the audience, they pick up the energy, they feel it, they get involved. It is, you know, everything is energy based, and that's not woo woo. That is true. I mean, you break everything down to the smallest particulate matter. It's vibrational energy. So for my left brain people, it's basic science. For my right brain people, embrace it. They're good. But having had the station going on 4 years for me now, the two biggest roadblocks, and I'll share one of mine, two biggest roadblocks that I hear are time and money. I either have the time or the money. And these are the two things that go back and forth. I have seen people get involved with much costlier services out there, and there's one that has a very big name, and it's $30,000 a year. I get it. That's expensive.
That's expensive.
That's a lot of money. You're getting quality audio, but you're not getting the kind of work and direction that we provide. So there's that. And then time. I've seen other people go it alone and save a ton of money. And then when we're having conversations, well, how much time do you put into it? I remember one person in particular, she's all, oh, it's 15 to 20 hours a week. I went, that's a job.
Yeah.
That's like a whole job. I don't do that.
I don't do that either.
What do you spend time-wise to get a show ready?
If I have an author, I read their book. So however long it takes me to read their book, and I do a brief, history search on them. And afterwards, I write up the show. So, it's, I don't know, maybe a couple hours, like maybe an hour for the actual show itself, and however long it took me to read the book. And I'm a very fast reader. I took speed reading in university. So I often read 2 or 3, 4 books a week.
Yeah. And I do the same.
Yeah.
For me, I tell people I can teach you how to do your show and your show production, pre and post production, in between 90 minutes and 2 hours, including your hour on air for my standard hosts, and then drop it to 30 minutes for the program that we're going to be offering. Drop 30 minutes off of it.
Yeah.
But I can even teach people who want to be really good at what they are doing, working with an author. You don't even have to read the whole book. I can show you what you
She's got a trick.
I have a fabulous trick that takes like 5
trick.
minutes, because I travel and sometimes I have forgotten to pack the book with me, or it hasn't caught up to where I am. And that's another thing. Sometimes the book doesn't show up until after the interview.
I know. Been there.
I've been online going, okay, Kindle version real quick. 30 minutes before the show.
Yeah.
But there are ways to do this so that you are prepared and the show comes off sounding fabulous, and your guest, the authors in particular, they are so grateful, because most of the times other hosts,
My pet peeve, my big pet peeve. Go
yeah,
ahead.
I won't name names. They basically get the author's media kit with the list of questions, and you can hear it. If you have a trained ear like Frankie and I do, it's like, so what made you write the book? And there's a disconnect, because that person really doesn't care. All they're doing is reading off.
They don't know what the book is even about. They have no idea.
Order. Yeah. My authors love me. Your authors love you. We care to make them sound fabulous. That's what we're here for. I look at it as, this is like a guest in my home. I would not mistreat or make someone uncomfortable in my home.
Exactly. Our role as a radio host is to make people look good. It's not to make me look good, it's to make you look good, or our guests look good. And they can't look good if they're having the very same interview every single time they go on a radio show. You know, I might share my guest and say, Kimberly, I got this fantastic guest. You have to have him on your show. She doesn't want the same show as my show. I don't want her to have the same show as my show. So they need to have a different experience, an amazing experience, by two hosts who are very comfortable doing what they're doing, and you will be very comfortable doing what you're doing too, and making them shine. That's our job. Make people shine, and have a good time doing it.
If you enjoy people, if you enjoy spending time with people, you're going to love this. You're absolutely going to love this. I'm looking for my mouse, and it's where I put it. Who knew? I love my desk.
There are people who shouldn't do it, though.
Right.
Do not be a radio host if you don't like people.
Yeah.
Don't be a radio host if you're lazy.
Yeah.
And you don't want to put a little bit of effort in. You know, please, just don't do it. It's not for you.
If you're okay, Sesame Street reference. If you are Oscar the Grouch and nothing is going to make you happy, and I actually interviewed someone who has their own show, so I made the assumption that they were going to be and it is about behavior. And it was one of the few shows that I actually had the producer shut down, because I won't play it anymore. You can just hear this person is not a happy person. And that's not what we're after. We're after making people feel
good. And if you can't say anything more than yes or no, don't have a show. Because you have an hour to fill or 30 minutes to fill. You need to be able to chat. And you need to be curious. If you're not curious, don't have a show, because you have to be curious about who you're speaking to. You know, you have to think up some questions, and it's a give and take. It's not just question, answer. You're having a conversation. So if you don't like conversations, don't have a show.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
I've had people asking me, why are you so good at what you do? I'm like, I'm nosy beyond belief, and I have no boundaries.
Oh, and if you're monotone, don't have a show. Don't do it.
Yeah, there was someone a few years back who actually teaches what we're offering in essence, who interviewed me, and the conversation went not only monosyllabic, you can't even say it slow enough. It was painful. And this was someone who was offering training, and I pulled her to the side and I said, I'm going to suggest you work with someone before you get out there, because I couldn't imagine a trove of little people training and doing this now.
Exactly like you. And sometimes you'll have a guest who maybe they're a little stunned when they get tongue-tied, because all of a sudden the fear pops in, and you have to work really hard to become jovial or think of ways to make them feel super comfortable. And eventually, maybe it might take you 10 or 15 minutes sometimes. They'll just relax, they'll open up, and they'll be like a totally different guest on air. But, you need to be able to do that. And the way to do that is to really love who love your guests, love what you're doing. And so if you think that you are a personable person, you're interested, you like people, you'll be great at this.
Yeah.
But if you're not, don't do it. Just don't. Just don't. We don't want your money. Go away.
So, you're like I am. It's like, don't.
Yeah, please.
So step 2 is going to be this is a little bit more practical. It's set up the business side to reflect your vision. So have that passion and understand your business structure around this. Well, we can show you how to do it. It needs to be reflective. I was helping someone set up a program and they went totally, I'm going to say, off track from their standard business, yet it was supposed to be reflecting their standard business. And I had to shut it down. I'm like, hold on, this is not. And then they shared with me, well, I'm rebranding. I'm like, okay, yes, I get it. But let's talk about the direction we're going with this before we do the big rebrand, because we're going to want it to be reflective. So what is setting up the business to reflect your vision look like, Frankie?
Well, first, it has to represent your business. If this is a business show, you're going to want your logo, you're going to want your domain, you're going to want to have all your social media reflect. Everything's going to look the same. And because you want people to recognize you, just like with any business that you do. So strategic planning, you have your Facebook and you have your website and you have your Twitter accounts and you have all of that stuff going. If you don't know how to do social media, hire somebody. It's very simple. It doesn't take a lot of time. And, actually just learn it because it's really simple. Just learn how to do it yourself. It's very easy. And
can I interject here just from a business perspective? Even if you're going to pay someone else to do it, you better know what they're doing. I worked with someone, one of our hosts 2 years ago. She spent $30,000 getting a website up and launched, and then paid one of our associates $5,000 to get what she really wanted because she had no concept. So if it is a business, and even if it's a passion show or a legacy show, and we'll talk more about those, you know what a passion show is, but a legacy show, you're still going to want it to reflect the personality of what it is that you're driving. So if you're talking about being upbeat and it's a positive, you're not going to use taupes and blacks and grays in your color scheme because that's really dampening. If it's a feminine show, you're not going to use a lot of masculine heavy colors. And if it's a masculine show, there's different things, and we'll walk you through those steps, but have it reflect the personality that you're looking for.
When you look at Kimberly or you look at me, you go, oh, who are they? What does, our brand look like? And you can go, look, mine's very colorful. I'm an artist. It's colorful. I love it. It makes me happy, makes people happy to look at it. And you've got Lessons in Joyful Living. I'm sure it doesn't look somber, right? No.
Nope. So, keep that in mind. So step 2 is set up the business side to reflect your vision. So whether that's, again, a legacy show, a business show, a passion show, have it reflect what your vision is. Broadcasting.
And why would you do that? Why would you do that? Have it reflect. There's a number of reasons why you would do that, other than just people finding you.
It's going to basically attract the people. It's, you're window shopping when you're out there on iTunes. People are window shopping. They're looking at the colors. They're looking at the fonts. They're looking at how it hits them. And they're going to decide a lot of times, based on judging a book by its cover, whether or not they want to go farther. I know I buy wine that way too.
Yeah, I love a good label. I love a good logo, man. Like, I am so attracted to that. Oh, that looks so cool. And even restaurants, you drive by a restaurant, oh, that looks beautiful. You drive by, a dump, and they could have the best food, and eventually you'll go in and people will tell you about it. But originally, no, you're not going to go in right away because it doesn't look good. But they do. And so it's your niche, you're attracting your niche market to you, and you are part of that niche. And so if you're attracted to it, they'll be attracted to it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So step 2, set up the business side, reflecting your vision. Step 3 is broadcasting basics. This is one where people sit down and tell me, I don't know what to do, and I don't want to spend $6,000 for a soundboard and then pay a sound technician and what is the least?
I have it here. I was looking for my telephone. I was looking for my telephone.
Right?
My telephone.
A landline.
Landline telephone. Ta-da! You're on air.
Here, wait. Here we go.
That one? Oh, okay, perfect. Now,
landline telephone. This is what I started off with.
You can go crazy. Here's my Blue Yeti, and yes, I record with it. And mostly I would record audio, doing audiobooks with something like this. You want a really great recorder.
Yeah.
Kimberly and I, we're lucky. We have an engineer who, you have an engineer who runs your show. I don't have an engineer who runs my show anymore, but it doesn't matter because, I've got good sound and it goes on to a show that has an engineer and I got good sound.
Yeah.
You can have that and you can have it affordably.
And that's just it.
With your phone.
You have landline. I mean, this is under $100 on.
That's what I got on right now. See?
Yep. Amazon. I love Plantronics. As a shameless plug. I love Plantronics audio. I have my Yeti Blue here. Bose headset for audio for me. If you can do some research and again, with our program, we have it all outlined for you. I've spent $600 on a mic and shipped it back and gone back to my Yeti Blue.
You get that Yeti for $100 or even less in some places. I have a halo that because I live in an open space, and so the halo stops the sound from just dissipating, and it keeps it right here. But that's for narration. I don't need that for radio. I don't need it for radio.
Yeah,
so
there's a difference between me recording for an audiobook, as you said, or for a hypnosis or a meditation CD. That's product. Not that your video isn't, but there's just, like I said, I started with a landline and the Plantronics headset. I've got, right now I'm on a camera that's it's Plantronics too.
I'm looking at what my camera is.
Yeah, it's a conference center.
Yeah.
So, and it's got great sound. So get the best sound quality you can afford. And frankly, if you already have a landline, $100 for a Plantronics headset, mic jobby,
done.
We can all afford that.
Yeah.
It's
and it'll do the job. You'll sound great. You'll sound great. So it's not a big investment. You're not asking for a heavy investment. You can get started by just picking up the phone, dialing the number on air, yay, or get on your computer with your headset, get on your Skype, you'll get connected to your guests and you're having a conversation. You're on air. Boom. Done.
Fabulous.
So easy.
Yeah. So I talked about in the beginning, podcasting it was kind of an off term. One of the reasons why I actually got into live radio, because podcasting was like, no, I don't do podcasting. I do live radio, and then we podcast optimize our marketing.
Right.
Which we still do at this point. But podcasting is no longer, I'm not going to call it a dirty word, but it wasn't a pretty word. People were hesitant to say they had a podcast. It has become so freaking popular.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I actually, if you want to look at some of again, looking for the mouse that's right in front of me.
The stats.
Yeah.
These are amazing statistics. And I'm sure that a lot of you be really surprised at what you're going to see.
Mm-hmm.
How many people listen to podcasts?
You're in Canada. What's the number?
The last one that they did last year was 10 million people are listening to podcasts. In the US, I know it's 50% of households listen to podcasts. Not only do they listen to them, but 80% listen to 80% of them. Like they listen to almost the whole podcast. And more than one a week.
Up to 7 now.
Yeah.
I know 6 a couple of years ago. It's 7 podcasts a week that they're downloading and listening.
If you're a commuter, if you're on a train, you're driving, you're on a plane. If you, I sit here and just listen to podcasts at home because I think they're fun and they're enjoyable.
If you're standing online in the bank, I've always got a little earbud in. If you're standing online at the grocery, I'm listening while I'm out running errands. I'm listening constantly.
It was my son who came to me because he loves Joe Rogan, and I was looking for some health stuff. And he goes, Ma, I just listened to Joe Rogan. He just did a show on stem cells. Why don't you go check it out? Listen to the show. I was blown away by the show. And, I have an appointment tomorrow with a stem cell doctor. It's, but that's what podcasts can do. They can teach you real things that will help your life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty darn amazing. one of the things, and I know I shared the stats with you, and this was one of the reasons that I saw coming when I launched the station in 2014. In 2015, we saw it for the first time. 2015 saw the network television stations, the big ABC, NBC, CBS, for the first time in over 50 years, they made the decision not to cancel their fall lineup pilot shows based on viewership. What does that mean? They realized people aren't necessarily watching live anymore. The shift happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
People are doing on demand. That's podcasting.
When I first got into radio, and I love live radio, and we'll talk about that in a minute why. But when I first got into it, I was very concerned. I have to be prime time. I have to be prime time. I soon realized after doing prime time for a couple of years, you don't need to be prime time. Your numbers aren't coming from prime time. They're coming from whenever people around the world who are listening to you, it's around the world, time zones, think about all those shifts, can tune in and listen to the podcast. It's not the live show anymore. It's a podcast. Those are where your numbers are going to come from.
It's on demand. Netflix has made a difference. Amazon Prime Television. It's the DVR, basically.
Yeah.
The DVR made that change in how we access our entertainment. And it has now trickled down to audio. iHeartRadio was the first to get into it and allow for downloads. It is the future, and the future is now at this point. So, think about your voice across infinite time and space.
Yeah. And so tell me, you like live radio?
I love it. I do.
Yeah. Why do you like it?
The energy. Honestly, I've been on podcasts where we've had cuts and breaks and heavy editing, and it sounds good. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but it is, and I hate to use the word contrived, but it is contrived.
It's work.
And it's work, exactly.
It's work. But like you, I love live because I like the energy of live. I like that anything can happen. It can go wrong. You don't know what's going to happen, but that's what makes it so great.
Yeah.
That it's real. The laughs are real. The flubs are real. It's all real. You see us all, warts and all. And that's what makes a great show sometimes, I think. I don't want to get into heavy editing after that. That creates work. And sorry, I was just going to say, I've trained some people, they want to do the podcast like that because they're a control freak, or they're shy, or they want to make sure it's all, exactly how they need it to be. I just like it to be me. And I'm me like that. That's me.
Yeah. This is who I am. One of the, and you can go and Google it, and I don't remember what show it was on, but it's actually a famous advertising story at this point. MailChimp, who is a media email service provider. MailChimp was one of the first people into podcast advertising, and I don't remember whose show it was on, but the host mispronounced MailChimp and called it MailChimp. And it was a live show. They thought they were going to lose the contract. It became one of their because people heard about, oh, wait, you've got to go listen to it. It gets mispronounced. And they thought they were going to lose the MailChimp contract. MailChimp went back and they were like, hey, we couldn't have paid extra for this.
Yeah.
That's the value of live. You never know how big it's going to get. Even your little snarf ups. I on my breaks, to have someone like Marianne Williamson, who's been interviewed tens of thousands of times, who's been, New York Times bestselling author over and over and over again, on a break to tell me no one's ever asked me that. And to have her actually take that moment where she went, I'm going to have to think about that to answer a question. That's gold for me.
Yeah.
That is the gold.
Me too. I love that too. And I love getting, them telling me after a show, that was the best interview I ever had. They sent me a video. I got to do a video for you. I have to do this for you. They send people to you because you are a great host. You're going to get that too. You're going to be that person, and you're going to love it. I don't know how we're doing on timer, but I think we need to
get moving. Okay.
Moving and tell you why you're listening to us. Come on.
Okay. So our experience, we've shared some of the ups and downs. One of the things that I am really big on, did you think about guests when you first started, or
I wanted guests.
Solo.
Yeah, I wanted guests.
I thought I wanted to do solo, and I did my first show solo. And then I stepped back and went, why am I doing the heavy lifting?
Exactly.
You can train your guests to do your pre-production and some of your post-production advertising. And I realized, invite guests. That's step 4. Get people on your side. Share the workload, and we will show you how. Who's the most famous guest you've had on?
Oh my gosh. I've had a lot. It depends what genre you're in. Dr. Bruce Lipton's one. I love Dr. Bruce. Marcy Shimoff is one. Kate Taylor, James Taylor's sister. Jonathan Sands. Jonathan is Sir Winston Churchill's great grandson. Yeah. I mean, there's just a host of people. Who are yours?
I sort of have gone the line of the Hay House authors. So I've had Sonia Choquette, Marianne Williamson, Lisa Williams, Jean Hayner, she does facial reading, Nick Ortner, I'm trying to think of who else. But I've had some amazing Hay House authors. You know, these are New York Times bestselling authors. Mm-hmm. These are people that I have followed for, some of them, like Marianne Williamson, decades.
Yeah.
Who have impacted my life, that I'm now getting to spend time picking their brain. I get one-on-one FaceTime.
Time
with them. It's like having a private consult with them.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And you get to do that because you have become a host. You become a podcast host, and with a great reputation, and people know that they're going to be okay with you. And, you know, I was invited to belong to a nomination only club of people who have, who are influencers of 100,000 people or more. Like, that's an honor. That was an honor to be able to say, yeah, okay, I'll join your club. Why not? Because I'm in company of a whole bunch of influencers, and you will become an influencer like Kimberly too.
And when you, again, share the workload and do it the way we'll show you how, I get these people on, and inevitably I will get 2 or 3, contacts from them, because they'll send me an email, or we'll get done talking on air and they'll say, you know what, that was great. You need to talk to this person too.
Yeah.
You need to talk to this person too.
Here's a tidbit. I'll just give them one little tidbit. When you have a guest on, and even if they invite their mom and their dad, their sister, I'm going to be on radio today. Out of those 10 people that they've invited to listen to you live, those people are going to share. And that's how you get listeners. That's organically how you create listenership. By every guest you invite, they tell and tell and tell, and it grows. And so you have hundreds of thousands of people listening to you.
Yeah. The bigger the guest, the bigger the influence they have, and they share that cachet.
Yeah.
And you're now the common denominator when people are listening across multiple
platforms. Yeah. I know. It's so exciting. Don't you want to be part of this?
I know, right?
Who doesn't?
Step 4, invite guests. We didn't check the time, but I know we're promising short time. We're going to talk about what we're offering.
Okay, but you get free stuff. I just want you to know you get free stuff.
Oh, yeah, free stuff. What is some of the best free stuff you've had?
Well, I love books. Look, these are all free, and I love to read. I went to a green room once in a terrestrial radio station. I go, oh, you get to read all those books. They go, who reads them? I go, I would read them. I'm going to be a host right now. I'm for sure I'm going to be a radio host.
I have publicists sending me boxes of books every month, and I'm at the point now where it's like, okay, this one, yes, no, gonna read it, decide.
But I love it. I mean, that's so cool. They send you jewelry, or they send you, I don't know, you got a mattress, didn't you get a mattress?
No, I opted out of the mattress.
You opted out of the mattress. Hair color, makeup, boob lifters. I don't know what you get.
I got boob lifters. I lost my retainer, and literally, like, within, I don't know how many weeks, I get this contact that I'm doing a dental it's anyhow, I didn't have to pay for retainers.
Nice.
Think about that. Chocolates and just, I'm amazed.
Wine.
Hotel
CDs.
stays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got whole packages of cards and CDs and just wonderful things that I love, stuff I love, like tarot and really cool things.
Yeah. And that's just it. Stay within what you love, because it's amazing. Then when you got that settled, if you're anything like me, then branch out, because you get more stuff. But free stuff, it's swag. Hello, who doesn't like that?
Everybody loves swag. Come on, don't lie. Okay, we're going to tell you about our program, because it really is fantastic. And, when you start researching this yourself, you're going to see how fantastic it is. So I will share a screen.
You're going to share a screen?
I'm going to share a screen. Where is our share
We're
screen?
live. We're just figuring this out.
I'm hoping that this is the screen we want. Maybe not. Yeah, it's this one. Can you see this or not?
I see nothing.
Okay, then I shared the wrong screen. Okay, you're going to see this in a moment. Here we go. I'm going to share the screen right here.
There we are.
And I'm going to take you down to our packages.
All right.
Package. Here we go.
All right. So we're offering 3 different packages. You decide where you want to be, but each package is going to get you 8 weeks of training and 12 episodes. And you can see the prices. We put them up there. We're being absolutely transparent on this, as is Frankie's screen. But within this, we have 3 different focuses. So the good package focuses on creating a product. By the time you're done, you're going to have a 12-week product, which is your show. Plus, we're going to show you how to create a product separate. You'll end up actually with 2 products. You get host development, show development, product development. You're going to learn pre and post production. You're going to have 12 30-minute episodes. You get a show page with appropriate links. We're going to have bumpers, intros, and outros recorded for you. If you don't know what those are, that's that little bit of talking or music that leads in and leads out of your commercial breaks and your coming into the show, leaving the show. You get a 30-minute guest appearance on somebody else's show. And we're going to guarantee 10,000 total impressions. What does that mean? That's downloads. You're going to have 10,000 listeners at the end of your product.
Nobody ever guaranteed me 10,000 listeners. I worked real hard to get 10,000 listeners. I'll tell you that. Years. Not like you. I'm not like you, Kimberly.
I have secrets. And I share them.
Yeah, and she's going to share them.
I was actually, and I'm grateful, and I'll throw a little plug in here. I had a client and student who was involved with Twitter. She was in brand development for the music industry at the time. And she showed me how to utilize social media, not just Twitter. I have another client and student who was responsible for the Orange County Register's social media, which is the number 4 newspaper in the country, off and on, depending on where their stats are. So I've been very, very grateful to have these women in my life who showed me what to do to get the content out there. And this is what you're going to learn in the production. And then you're going to end up with a product that you own and content you own. And frankly, that isn't always the case. There are product promoters out there who are going to ask you to joint venture. They're going to teach you all this, and then they're going to take 30 to 50% of what you make from that point forward. Plus, they're going to charge you a whole lot more to do it. There are people out there who will ask you to joint venture with them, and they'll show you this stuff, and they won't guarantee the outcome. I can guarantee 10,000 listeners to this product, and we'll keep promoting it. If you hit your 12-month distribution period and you haven't hit your 10,000, we'll keep you on another year. I guarantee you will have 10,000 listeners across your 12 shows by the time we're done. 10,000 products.
I remember being on Blog Talk Radio many years ago and going, whoo, I got 200 people. Yeah. 200. Now we got like 1 million. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. I know. And 10,000 is phenomenal. And man, oh man, nobody's going to guarantee you that.
Yes.
do that?
Honestly, for me, you will see the value in this when the phone starts ringing. When if this is a business, you're getting contacted about your business, because we're going to show you how to promote your business within this without being salesy. People are just naturally going to be inclined to say, hey, Frankie, I love what you're talking about. I need to work with you.
Because they got to know you.
Yeah.
It's like you're not a stranger anymore. You've opened up your heart. You've opened up your, your value system to the people who are listening. You can't help but do that. You can't help but be you on air. It comes out naturally over time. And so they're attracted to you. If they're listening, they're attracted to you, and you become a trusted friend, and they think, yeah, I'm going to buy from her. I've spent enough time. They say advertising is, you have to hear something 10 times or 16 times or whatever it is. They've heard you enough times now that you are that trusted brand.
Yeah. And everybody's talking about content-based marketing. Give people content. That's what this is. This is now your content-based marketing. You're making an investment in time, energy, and effort one time for evergreen outcome.
Yeah.
That's the beauty. That's the absolute beauty of this. So the second product is our Better program, and the focus on that is, Frankie, can you scroll up a bit? Sorry.
Up.
There we go. Perfect. It's social marketing. So you get the product creation, and then we're going to show you a little bit more how to social market. So you can take that 10,000 listener download guarantee. You can double it. You can triple it. You can do what I do and do 10 times that amount in a year. Imagine. And not just across the 12-month period. Imagine that on a monthly basis. If you really get diligent about this, imagine getting 100,000 downloads a month.
Kimberly should be your guru, and you can be down on your knees just going, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Really, because she's absolutely unbelievable at this stuff.
And again, this was the learning curve. This was the stuff that I had to learn the hard way. I had to pay people to come in and show me when I got stuck, when I spun out, when I didn't understand. I've done all the heavy lifting. Don't. So you get the product development, and then you get 15 social share templates branded to your show, 3 each for Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Pinterest. All 5 of the top ones right now. And this will change if I don't know, Mirror comes in, just, as a new social media outlet, I will go out and spend money to learn everything about Mirror, whatever it is.
I like that.
Because I always want us to be in the top 5. You're going to find the niche that you're best in, and we will identify that in the training, because you're going to be heavily invested into the top 2. You're still going to have a presence in the other 3, but not everybody. I mean, what's your top social media niche?
Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah, for me, it's Twitter. I've got over 250,000 followers across the board on Twitter in multiple areas because of the different directions the businesses go.
Yeah.
But yeah, imagine having 250,000, 500,000 followers. And then I'll share briefly, just real quick, why you want multiple accounts within different social media platforms. You're playing in their sandbox, and anytime they can change the rules, and at any time they can take you out. So you want to sort of make that investment a little bit more spread out to make it easier for you. And we'll show you how to automate it. We'll show you how to make it work for you so that you're not sitting in front of the computer all day. I'm not sitting there doing posting all day. Most of the stuff is automated, and I have someone who manages the automations. Yay. So you're going to get a 30-minute coaching call, and you can choose show, production, product. What else do you get within that? Let me get back in here.
Coaching.
The coaching. All right. So, and that one has a value, really retail value.
15,000.
And these retail values are low end based on what you're getting. Frank and I were talking about it. There's a product out there that for 12 shows is $7,500.
Yeah. That's just doing a show. That's not helping you with any of this other stuff.
No training.
No training. just go.
Yeah. 12 shows, $7,500. You want the training?
So that's a lot. That's a lot of money to throw away. And I'm going to say throw away on a learning curve.
Yeah.
On a learning curve.
Yeah.
You know, you have a product and you don't know if you're going to get 10,000 listeners. You're lucky if you're going to get a couple hundred listeners because you don't know how to do all this stuff yet. You'll start off like I did with a couple hundred people. If you're lucky listening to you, maybe 10 the first time. Who knows? After 12 weeks, maybe you're going to be lucky. Maybe you'll have 1,000. I don't know. Can't guarantee it, but we can guarantee you 10,000. And that, like $7,500, I would have went. And I did. I went, whoa, no way. And we really want. You know what they do? They call you up. They go, we'd love to have you as a radio host. And you go, oh, that's exciting. They want me as a radio host. They must have listened to me. No, they found out that you're a host somewhere, and they're appealing to your vanity. And then it's like, oh, and it's $7,500. You're like, forget that, man. I'm not paying that. No.
Well, and then what they don't tell you is there's the 12-week, there's the quarter that you have to pay for where you're not even on air to get their basic training package, which really doesn't go into the detail we're going into.
It's terrible. Yeah. I really hate being ripped off. And I can tell you, Kimberly and I hate being ripped off, and we are not ripping you off. Yeah. Not rip. You can apply to all the radio, transformational coach radio and Voice America and I don't know.
Even Blog Talk, and we want you.
Even Blog Talk. You can go and apply to all of these people, see what they're charging, BBS Radio, see what they're going to charge to have a show, just to have a show.
Yeah.
For 6 weeks or 12 weeks if you're lucky.
Yeah, pick 12 weeks and, do your due diligence. But honestly,
I'm not worried because I know that these numbers look amazing.
Yeah. And we talked about it. This is something that we both decided. Frankie's coming on board with this as a partner. We both decided we want this to be affordable, accessible, and we want to blow everybody else out of the water. I have this belief set. This is how I work. There's number one, and then there's lose. That's how I operate.
You're a winner or you're not a winner.
You're either the best at what you do or you're a loser.
Yeah.
That's not my judgment on anyone else. That's my judgment on me.
Yeah.
That's how I work things.
Yeah.
People are like, number 2 and 3 are good places. Not in my mind.
Yeah.
I have lost.
Kimberly is,
So I want
to say the least.
I'm a little nutty that way. So I want this to be the best offer out there. I want you to get the best training out there, the best direction out there. I've worked with speech pathologists to help you develop your voice. I've worked with behavioral direction to help you develop your vision, to help you identify your platform. And this is all literally years to pull together. And then there's the third product, and these are very limited. This is the platinum diamond studded tiara standard. This is the best we have. And this is podcast building focus. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I want you to do this as your training ground. And then I want you to think about a 48-week full-time hosting spot within our program. I want you to do this so much so that I will then apply your training $29.97 towards your 48-week contract. I know, I'm nuts, right?
Yeah, you're crazy.
I know. So you get the product focus, the social marketing focus, and then we go deeper. You get 3 45-minute coaching calls, 1 show, 1 host, 1 product. So for the show, the host, and the product, we will set you up, whether it's with me, whether it's with Frankie, whether it's with one of our experts. You tell us where you want to be out of this coaching call. We're going to find the best resource for you to get what you need. You get 24 months. We've doubled the distribution and syndication. So automatically, 24 months. And I'm guaranteeing, here's where I get really crazy, 10,000 impressions per episode. So that's 120,000 impressions that you're going to have across 24 months on these products. I guarantee that because frankly, I know I can deliver 5, 6, 10 times more.
Yeah, for sure. And because you know how to do it. There's a system. We know how to do this. Yeah.
And you're going to get 1 year of lead access capture. This is a tool that I started using about a year ago. It's a group that we've partnered with. It's amazing. This tool will help you build your list. It's going to help you bring people in who are listening, and you're going to get a 30-minute product launch promotional interview with me. I will either come on your show, or you can come in, that's an extra 30-minute show for you, or you can come on to one of my shows for 30 minutes, and we're going to talk about whatever product you develop, whether it's a book, a blog, a DVD series, an MP3 series, whatever you decide, an ebook, whatever you decide this product is, you're going to come on and we're going to do a show about this and launch it, and you're going to get amazing play off of it. Frankie, what are your thoughts?
When you showed me this before, I said, "Oh my God, Kimberly, I'm blown away." I can't even give you the money fast enough to have something like this. Like, this was nowhere. None of this was ever around when I first started doing it. And like, honestly, if you want to be in radio, if you want to have a podcast, if you want to learn from the very best and at the very best price, this is it. This is really it. You know, you can fumble around or you can do it. You can take your time and strategically use those couple hours a week and have yourself a show with 10,000 impressions. Do you have a product that you want to sell? 10,000 people, 10,000 downloads. Who's not listening, right? People are listening. They downloaded you 10,000 times. If you want to take a book that you've written and now turn it into an audio product, you've got 12 weeks. You've got audio, you've got engineers, you've got people who are going to make you sound great. Go ahead and do it. If you want, to learn social media and how it all works and be, as productive and as big as you can possibly get, and have those big names, those Hay House authors on your show, or the people that I invite on and go, yeah, sure, I'll be on your show. You know why people say I'll be on your show? Because they've heard of you, or they can look you up and they go, oh, you look at you, you're all over the internet. Oh my God. They can trust that. So if you want that, if that excites you, and we're going to talk, we said that we're going to talk about the different kinds in another podcast or webinar. Go to the site, hostpodcast.com/invitation. Take your time, read through it. Go to the different internet radio stations, apply as a host, see how much they're going to charge you, see what they're going to teach you, see if they're going to upgrade, to teach you these things, or if they're just going to throw you into the fire, trial by fire, which is the way that we learned.
Yeah.
Go and do that. I totally think you should.
I absolutely.
And then come back.
Do your due diligence and then come back quickly, because those 15 spots for the best are going to sell out.
Yeah, it's limited.
Going to sell out. That's just,
we don't have time for more than 15 people. So in that category. So yeah.
This had been available when I invested 3 times that much just to get a show with the promise of training that never came.
And advertisers that never came.
I would have invested 3 times this much.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Again, this is an insane value. It really is. I look at this, but this is what I want to do. And within 30 days, if this isn't right for you, we have to work together for 20 weeks for the training, for the podcasting, for the promotion. We are tied together for a year, and in the other case, 2 years, minimum, 2.5. So if within 30 days you realize this is not for you, for whatever reason, let us know. 30-day money-back guarantee period. We're done. We wish you the best. Go find another way to do it, or find what works for you. But that's it. Hostpodcast.com/invitation. If you know this is for you, sign up now. Do it now. Jump in and make it happen. So we have one more thing to deliver, because I left an open loop for a reason. And that is launching a successful podcast. So I want to go over a couple of things. I'm going to go ahead and screen share here. So let me grab that. share screen. Well, that's not the screen I want to share.
But we're calling this Podcasting Unwrapped. Isn't that great? I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's the product, Podcasting Unwrapped. So I can't see what I'm sharing.
Oh, I can see it. You can't see it?
Is it the one with eBay on it?
Yeah.
Okay, fabulous. All right. So if you've been thinking about podcasting, now's the time to make it happen. eBay, GE, FedEx just got into it within the last 2 years. Make-A-Wish, HBO, they've been in there longer. So there's big names in there now utilizing podcasting for advertising, utilizing podcasting to get their product out there. Thing is, we all know GE, FedEx, HBO, eBay, Make-A-Wish. We know these advertisers. They're spending big money. Let me get back here. These are some of the partners we've had in the past. Blue Apron. I've got a lot of nonprofits. I have in my heart nonprofits.
And I'm really into social impact. And so I have a lot of nonprofits too.
Yeah. So BRAT, Basenji Rescue and Transport, ACW, Artist Community of Whittier. That's a local. Jordan's Angels. That's one that I'm very involved in. That's actually somebody who impacts my life, who I've known for years. But we've had amazing partners within our advertising, and we will show you how to get advertisers, how to get these partners onto your programming and help you. You can make money doing podcasting. And that's something that we really haven't touched on, but you can be profitable. I was profitable within 90 days of my first show.
Actually, she's a legacy.
I am kind of.
she's like a podcasting hero.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
a little bit.
yeah, you are. Let's milk it. Come on,
yeah,
you are.
No, but you know what? And for me, again, because I go into everything with the vision of there's number one, and then why bother? And right. I want to be the best at what I do, and this is how I've done it. We want you to know your audience, and here's some content on current podcasting, and these are our demographics. This is Lessons in Joyful Living demographics. This is the gold standard. Everybody wants this demographic right now. These are buyers.
Yeah.
They're the people who are listening to my programming. They're listening on mobile devices. They're, clicking and buying and moving through. And then here's some more content, and we'll provide these handouts for you to peruse later. But here's what I wanted you to see. Podcast advertising spending in the US from 2010 to estimated 2020. We are 2018, they're estimating $256 million US being spent in podcast advertising. So for people who are saying they can't get a sponsor, they can't get money, they don't know, basically they don't know how. Mm-hmm. The money's there. We'll show you how. And then here's your 5 steps to launching a successful podcast. Share your passion, take care of business, sound fabulous, share the workload, and the last one is launch.
That's the most important. Just launch. Do it. Just do it, man. Do it. You will love it. The first one you'll be, I don't know, I can't talk. The second one will be like, Third one will be like, yeah, okay, you on my show. I got a show. Did you know I had a radio show? I have a radio show.
Yeah. And then one day you might be like Frankie and I have a station. I want more women out there owning stations. We are impacting the world. We are bringing hosts and listeners and guests to the table to make a difference, to really impact the world.
For me, it's positive programming, social impact, and changing the world, and telling people about amazing people who are changing the world so that they know they're out there. You know what? People are out there doing this, doing really good stuff. You don't know about them yet, but you will. You become part of this world. It's amazing. You're going to know a lot of hosts, and you're going to be part of a world-changing organization. It's amazing. So yeah, check out, do your due diligence, and then come back. Do your due diligence,
and then join us. And if you know this is right for you, join us. So hostpodcast.com/invitation. We'll have links up in your handouts. I want to thank you for joining us. I honestly don't even know the time at this point, but we're good.
Yeah. So, thanks for listening. Thanks for taking the time and listening to us.
Thank you, Frankie, for joining me and for being a part of this.
Thanks, Kimberly, for inviting me. I love it. I'm excited about it. And I'm excited for everybody who's going to become a podcast host in the near future. Take care, everyone. Yeah.